MDA IAFF softball tournament
in Prince George's County, Maryland. We'd like to welcome you to this edition of VBFD Frontline!
Hello, I'm Captain Buddy Martinet, and welcome to another edition of Frontline. We're privileged today to have in the studio today Chief Harry Dizell, and Chief Dizell has been kind enough to come by and offer us some words of wisdom for our business out there and how we do things. And Chief, thanks for coming by the Frontline today.
Thanks, Bud. I think two things I want to touch on quickly, both of which came up at our staff meeting. The first one is volunteers and how we use them. The second one is the promotional system, and I know I'm throwing this at you cold, but let me just get through it quickly. The question on the volunteers came up in terms of use, and it's my understanding and my direction that where volunteers are available, trained and certified volunteers, that we attempt to man those salvage units first. We attempt to fill in the open seats on the heavy equipment second. And then we attempt, thirdly, to bring up the reserve pumpers when and wherever we can. Now, I think all of our firefighters know that I respect their opinion on anything they choose to chat about, whether it's religion or politics or whatever. The policy of this city, via the City Council, is that where we have qualified volunteers available, all of us across all agencies will do our best to utilize those volunteers. I think we have a pretty good track record with that in this city and with this department. The role of volunteer obviously has changed since the early 70s to right now. But I would reemphasize to company officers and the senior firefighters who find themselves with available volunteer manpower to use them prudently, to use them in the descending order that I just described in terms of filling in the different components there, the salvage truck, the heavy equipment, and then the second pumper. And I would also remind them that, by and large, when we hire folks, we hire them based upon our background investigation and our knowledge of them. And they come from everywhere. But our volunteers have historically represented the baseline recruitment pool because those firefighters, day in and day out, know who walks the walk and who talks the talk. That's critically important. Now, what came up in a staff meeting is a little erosion to that and some questions about who's in charge and what qualifications are. We can work through that over a period of time, but the bottom line is no company officer, no senior firefighter has the ability to say, I will not utilize this talent or this skill. And they are required by the fire chief and by the council to utilize it and then evaluate it. And where in that evaluation someone does not meet up as far as being able to perform and whatnot, we need to know that. We can pull that person off the line, retrain them, do whatever we have to do. And with our leave situation like it is, I think that more and more the qualified volunteers that come in and will be under supervision of our career staff are going to help us with an otherwise really tight situation, buddy.
Right. Well, in passing, one of the firefighters had discussed with me, he had a particular concern about a fully manned volunteer engine. And the qualifications that the person was required to have who was in command of that unit as compared to a company officer. And he was particularly concerned about that. Can you address that issue at all?
There literally are no stated qualifications in terms of the command function. What's out there at the moment is, are you certified at XYZ level, firefighter 1, 2, or 3, DO, whatever it might be. And that's all we require across the board. I suspect one of these days we're going to have, in short order, and Chief Bremer and I have been talking about it, some type of officer candidate or qualification school that incorporates not only the basics of supervision, but the basics of command. And at this point, nationally, there is no command certification I'm aware of. There are a lot of classes given, a lot of things you can do, but nothing that you go in, come out of at the other end of the hopper with a certificate that says now you are one. Right? So I think those are legitimate concerns, and with some of our career people with a lot of experience, and they see their volunteer counterparts with not so much experience. Right? That's really not the issue at this particular point. The question that's being posed here is there a qualification process? Other than what we have in a current system, the answer is no. That in itself qualifies them to be in a position. One of the things that the courts have repeatedly said is that whoever's there has to wear that mantle in terms of the decisions that are made, and that person is held accountable and responsible for those decisions. It doesn't make any difference who it is. Right. All the way through to me. Several years ago, I made a little tape in here on what that federal judge said to me, and he wasn't smiling when he was talking to me.
Ironically enough, I guess it's people forget that we all started at some point with no experience at all, and we acquired it in one method or the other. Most of us acquired it from people that we watched and people that we emulated when we were doing our jobs.
Yeah, the system today generally says you have an experienced guy there to give you a hand if you're a new guy coming in. Through our career, our respective careers, it used to be we all had one or two people in the engine companies. And when that happened, you were it. Whether you were a 90-day wonder or you'd been there 9 years, it didn't make any difference. When the bell rang, you made a decision. And that's how you learn, that's how you grow. I share some concerns in the qualification area, and I would say to the firefighter who approached you, that's an issue that we are looking at and will continue to look at.
Okay, I know you wanted to speak a little bit about the promotional process.
One of the jobs that falls on my desk is to look beyond the immediate situation that we have. And I said to the staff at the monthly staff meeting last month, what are we going to do in a 5 to 7 year period with the potential to have a fairly significant turnover, an attrition rate, via retirements, because the retirement system appears to be changing in a fairly favorable way. All right, so whether you opt to go out at 25 and 50 or 30 and 50, 55, whatever, when I program out who is going to have that option in their hand, then the bulk of our upper staff officers are going to be rolling over in this 5 to 7 year period. What that means for the firefighter at the moment is that in that time frame, there's going to be a tremendous opportunity for them to advance their careers. And I said, okay, if that's the case, what do our firefighters want to do with our current promotional system? Do they want to keep it the same or do they want to change it? So Chief Carter will be developing a committee that I have directed to be primarily firefighters initially, to look at that particular question and to make that answer. For instance, I've always thought we got the cart in front of the horse with the master program. I think the master should be 4, I think the captain should be 6, all right? But that's the fire chief's thinking. What does the firefighter out there think? And I need that input. So what we're going to do is look at those 2 rank areas. Right? Now the existing battalion chief and district chief promotional process is probably going to stay about the same. And that is a 1 to 5, 1 to 10 selection process based on interview and some other techniques that are used. The mid-manager selection process. When you get to the DC range and the deputy range, that comes to bear there, plus the appointment side of it. But for the firefighters coming up, that first plateau and the second plateau, I don't want the city or this fire chief to design a system they're not comfortable with. So I want to start the process at the other end and bring it through, and that's what we'll be doing. This is critically important to the firefighters in our system who will be here beyond that 5 to 7 year time frame. And what I'm suggesting is that we need to set the basis for the future leadership of this department through these firefighters, because they will be the leaders.
Are we still bound pretty much by federal regulation as far as how we carry out the process? I mean, are we mandated to do an assessment center based on some federal regulation? Or?
No, we are not mandated to do that. That is a safety valve that we do, and Chief Carter is talking to some of the folks now who have suggested a better way to do business with that assessment center. We'll take a look at that, and I think their concerns are valid. What we're mandated to do is try to provide an objective process. Pencil and paper test, if it's written properly, can be a mandated process, all right? But that's generally not sufficient as a predictor for future success. The assessment center is the most reliable tool that we had for predicting potential success. Right. If there's a better mousetrap out there, all we got to do is find it and use it. And that's another part of that I think the firefighters need to look at. We have a system that rank orders folks and whatnot, and it's not been touched at this point federally. What I think we need to be acutely aware of is that we are a changing department with a changing mix of people, different backgrounds and whatnot. And I would not want the Justice Department to come in and tell us you have 3 hiring lists, right, A, B, and C, and you hire this way, horizontally, as opposed to vertically. I think all of our folks in all the classes have said, just get the hell out of the way, Mr. Fire Chief, let us compete. And that is really very healthy, and I think that's a positive way to look at business. And that's assuming that our processes are objective and valid.
Good.
So
Okay.
that's where we are. This is probably one of the more sensitive areas that we deal with as a department, buddy. I remember a long time ago when I gave it to a group of firefighters, they went at it for the better part of 4 or 5 months, and the system we have today is basically came back from them. And they got to it and they said, half of this we agree on, the other half we don't agree on. Have a nice day, Chief, you make the decision, which we did. All right. And I have to make the decision based upon objectivity, and that's where we are with it.
Well, good. Very sensitive issue, but also a very important one, I guess, to the future of the fire department, so everybody should really stay on top of this.
What's this fire department going to look like in 10 years? Right? That's the kind of thing that I have to wrestle with, as well as the politics and the funding. What I want to do when it's time for me to hand the baton over to the next fire chief, I want to be able to hand that baton over knowing that this fire department, the leadership positions are solid and they're filled with the folks that have been here and have grown up in this system and understand it. Right. I do not want to walk out that door and ever have a doubt that yeah, you got it, partner.
That's good. That's great information, Chief. Let me go ahead and give you a rundown on the program this month. We've got a real good program for you. Andy Spire, I don't know if y'all remember Andy, but he came from New York City. He's currently out in the Northwest, and he did a section last time on forcible entry techniques and some things like that. He came back this year to HTR school and did another section for us on ventilation and truckee tools and things like that, and that is a real interesting segment. Battalion Chief Chase Sargent came by the studio this month and talked to April Elmore on this month's edition of Fire Medic, and they talked about the project task force that's looking at the BLS equipment that's going to be carried on the engines. Project Safe Place, Master Firefighter Ricky Woods stopped by and talked a little bit about Safe Place and how we're going to institute that into the current fire station environment. Health and Fitness this month, Master Firefighter Jim Milligan talks with Firefighter James Branch about an arm workout. And Rags to Wrenches, the chainsaw safety segment with Master Firefighter Gary Umflett. And How in the World, new segment coming this month, How in the World. We can't tell you who's in it yet. It's going to be a surprise. But we got that new segment, and they're going to be talking to the new supply person, Molly Riley. And we're going to end the program up with VBFD Frontline News Update with Battalion Chief Skip Brim. So, Chief Dizell, I want to thank you for coming by and giving us that important information for people out there. Kick your feet up, enjoy the program. We'll see you in a little bit. We're at the 10th Annual Heavy and Tactical Rescue School, and back with us this year from the far reaches of the Northwest is Andy Spire. And for those of you who don't remember, Andy was with us last year and gave us some tips on ventilation and some forcible entry and tools we used in the fire service, and we decided to pick his brain again this year. So Andy, thanks for coming back out with us.
You're welcome, buddy.
What exactly are you going to try to demonstrate for us and tell us about this time?
Today we're going to go over a truck company member's personal tools. We'll go through some of the tools that I carry, and we'll go over some different ways to do some ventilation when you can't reach windows, when you're in an inaccessible spot, and then we'll go over how to climb ladders with tools.
Okay, which one do you want to start with first?
Let's go over climbing the ladder with tools over here.
All right. Is there any particular technique that you use for climbing ladders with tools? I know obviously you just don't want to let them go, but I mean, what other kind of possible techniques could you have?
Well, we could climb the ladder, tie a rope on our tools, and then pull them up. But in this case, we've got a fixed ladder, and we've got 2 tools and 2 hands. So what we want to do is take advantage of the fact that one of our tools is a hook, essentially, and we don't have to actually carry that in our hand. We can pass it along as we go up.
Okay, hey, while we're talking about these tools here, why don't you explain to us what we got? And I know from conversation we were talking about, obviously this is a Halligan tool. This particular tool right here, we call a garden weasel around here. What do you call it out where y'all are from?
This would be a sheetrock hook.
That's the proper name for it, a sheetrock hook?
That's right, and that's why the tool has such a wide hood on the top here.
Okay, well, let's go do some climbing. You want to?
Okay, I'm ready.
Andy, on the side of the building like this, we've got a fixed ladder here, and you're going to show us a little bit about how to climb a fixed ladder with hand tools.
That's correct. We've decided to take this fixed gooseneck ladder up to the roof, and it's a gooseneck ladder because it goes up to the roof and comes back down the other side. What we're concerned with is that the ladder is going to pull away from the building. So what we'll do is we'll grab one of the beams and we'll shake it. Now this ladder obviously is bolted to your concrete tower, but we're concerned about old fire escapes that are rusty or ones that are anchored on wooden structures and the wood's rotten. So we've determined this is a safe ladder to climb. I want to keep both my hands on the beams as much as possible, so I'll take the hook of my tool, put it above me, hook it on the ladder off to one side. That'll allow my right hand to be on the beam. With my other hand, I'll put the Halligan tool up against the beam and I'll just slide it up. When the hook is level with my knee or close to it, I'll reach over, grab the hook, and pass it up in front of me. That way I've got both my hands on the ladder when I'm moving.
Okay, let's go ahead and demonstrate that, and then I'll meet you up on top.
Okay. Buddy, how'd you get up here?
It's the magic of television, Andy. All right, what do we got from when we get up here on the roof?
Okay, what I'm concerned with is a couple of things. One is the integrity of the parapet wall here. So before I let go of my ladder, I'm going to make sure that the wall is secure. The other is I'm not sure the height of the parapet wall. You're standing right now on the roof, but I don't know that. At this point, it could be dark. So I'm going to get myself up on the parapet, swing my leg over. Now this could be with an aerial ladder or with a ground ladder or a gooseneck ladder. I'm sitting on the parapet wall right now, and I'm looking down at the roof. I can take my light and shine it down. What I'm concerned with is that there's a hole here or a shaft. The roof has been patched. Anywhere I see cardboard or wood, I'm going to be suspicious that there's actually a hole underneath that. So I take a look. Possibly I can't see very well. I'm not sure where the roof is. I'll take my Halligan tool and I'll just drop it down on the roof. Okay, I heard that. If I drop it, wait 15 seconds before I hear it, then I figure I'm probably over some kind of a shaft, and I don't want to dismount at this point to the roof. So I'm going to lean over and get my hook. And my hook is a tool that I can use to sound the roof right from here before I even step down. So I make sure that I've got a firm place to step. I do put the hook off to the side right here. Make sure it's not going to fall. I'm still holding onto the gooseneck. And I put my foot down. And I put a little weight on it before I let go. That's firm. Now I'm all set. I gather up my tools. Make sure my light is turned on. And essentially at this point, I'm going to function like a blind man. And anywhere I'm going to walk, I'm going to sound that area with my hook in front of me. At this point, I'd like to go over some of the personal truck company tools that I carry with me.
Okay, let's go over that, and let's get set up right here. How about that?
Okay. One of the most essential tools for me to carry, once I've already got my hand tools picked out, is a good flashlight. In this case, I'm using a Survivor Streamlight. This is an excellent light. Virginia Beach carries this on the apparatus I see. In Fort Truck in New York, we used to carry large show-me lights that were rechargeable. They're very bulky, but they were reliable. And now, today, this is the light that they use. This is an intrinsically safe light, gives a good beam, but I always want to make sure that I have some kind of a backup light. It's not that we're afraid of the dark, but Murphy's Law can happen, and we don't want to get stuck without a light, because part of our job is to do search and rescue. We need to be able to see when we do that. We have a couple of options. One of them is the Pelican Saber light, another UL-approved light, and this one is good down to 2,000 feet. So that's pretty good for most firemen. Personally, I don't go down below 10, 15 feet, so this is going to be good for me. And it's a submersible light, and it's actually an excellent light. It'll take a lot of abuse. So we like that, and it gives us several ways to carry it with a clip and a ring and a strap.
Okay, what else you got in your pockets, Andy? Typical truckie. Got pockets full of stuff.
You have to have pockets. This one is a different type of an accessory light. This one is a mini mag. It's another small light. It's a lot lighter than the Pelican light, but the point is you want to have some kind of a backup light. So I make sure I always carry at least my main light and a backup. And these are great to carry, Xylem light sticks. I can use these in case all my lights go dead. I can use them for a way of marking a room that I've made a primary search in. I can use them as a way to show where I've been on a search, where we have to continue. We can use these, put a string through these, use them in auto accidents for the interior of a car. Instead of shining a light at all the patients, I have my hands free. I just set this on the dash, and now I can see. And on some of the enclosed cabs, we can use this for mood lighting on the way to calls.
Yeah, that'll keep everybody under control, calm, and collected.
Exactly. I want to carry some small tools. Now, obviously, I can't carry a whole toolbox, but on most calls we go on, there are always a couple of tools that we're going to use every time. So I like to carry either a pair of channel locks or a pair of vice grips. These are 10-inch vice grips, and if you notice on these have the curved jaw. I can use these for disconnecting the battery on a car. I can use these if I open them up to help pull a lock cylinder if I don't have a tool with me. There are a lot of uses for this, and essentially we're using this as a wrench. Some guys like to carry an 8-inch or a 10-inch adjustable wrench, which is great for not stripping nuts, but it doesn't do as many functions. And we want to carry tools that do a lot of things. Last time we talked about the different functions that the Halligan tool can do. So in the vice grip of the channel lock, we have a tool that can function in a lot of different ways. So we carry this. We can use that for shutting off gas, for instance. We carry a pair of screwdrivers. You can use short, stubby ones. You can use the larger ones. I like to put holes in the ends of mine and put a loop through them so that I can find them in my pocket. But you're always using screwdrivers, so we carry the Phillips head and the standard. Some of the guys used to carry the reversible tip screwdrivers, but we found that they break really easy and the guys lose the handle. So this works out pretty well. This is a circuit tester, and at my present job, the guys always used to make fun of me for carrying this, but we actually use this quite a bit. We go on a call for an electrical fire or a grease fire in a kitchen. We want to check for extension. We're not sure if it's gotten into the wall, or we want to make sure we shut the power off in that area. Well, what we used to do is have one guy stand in the kitchen, somebody turn the circuit breakers off, then the probie would have to put his finger in there. But the probies didn't like that. We started to get some senior guys, so we go to a circuit tester. The only caution is if you carry a circuit tester, you need to test it regularly. Otherwise, if it doesn't work, then you're back to having the probie put his hand in there. So this works pretty well.
I guess you also need to be careful that you only do 110, right, too? You don't want to be sticking that thing in 220 or it'll light you up.
Exactly.
I've never seen a man with so many tools in his pocket.
Truckies have to carry a lot of tools. You probably recognize this as the carry key from the K-tool. This is usually the first of the 3 tools that you'll lose with the K-tool and the one you use the most often. So we try to carry one of these with us as a spare. I think that's it for that pocket. A pocket mask or a micro shield barrier is actually a handy item, and the guys in New York used to make fun of me for carrying these, but after they did mouth-to-mouth on a transvestite hooker, they all went out and bought these. So this is kind of a nice tool to carry with us. It has a one-way valve on it, and pretty much we use these routinely anytime we're going to have to do that. Most of the time we put ourselves in a position where we won't have to do that. We carry bag masks with us, but if we find someone on the fire floor, on the 8th floor, we're going to end up having to do mouth-to-mouth or something until the medics are able to get up there with their equipment. Carry 20 feet of 1-inch webbing and a carabiner. This is here so we can make an emergency sit harness in case we have to leave a structure in a hurry. Here we have 70 feet of 8mm cord. We can use this as a personal search line, clip it on an object, and then take it with us. We can use it to haul our tools up from above, and we can use it for some ventilation, and we'll go over some of the uses for this. Got so many pockets, it's hard to keep track of everything I have. And last but not least, we'd like to carry a Leatherman or a SOG tool or some kind of a small tool. And then you could carry this instead of some of your pliers. But this is a nice all-purpose tool to carry.
It's like about the only thing you could have done to bring anything else up here was have somebody else carry it.
Well, I would have had to bring my pack. Actually, on my turnout coat, I have more pockets.
We're only allowed to have a certain number of pockets, you see, that's SOP.
I understand.
But anyway, I understand that you got one more technique you want to show us, something about some ventilation and using some of this, is that right?
That's correct. Oh, the other thing I'd like to point out, buddy, is these gloves. We'd like to carry a pair of leather work gloves with us, not for firefighting, but for doing a lot of other things. For instance, we're checking the apparatus, we're handling a lot of tools. It's really hard to do it with fire gloves on. Most guys will just take the gloves, throw them on the ground, and not wear gloves. And as a truckie, we need to protect our hands so that we can work with tools. So we just keep a pair of these in our pocket for manipulative skills. Let me show you a technique. There could be a time when you need to ventilate windows on the 4th floor, and you're on the roof on the 6th floor. We can't reach with the hook from above, and an aerial ladder can't get in there. It's an alleyway, or there's a large setback which prevents us from gaining access to it. So what we do is we take our Halligan tool over here.
All right, I tell you what, Andy, let's go, let's get our stuff together and go over to the wall and reset up.
Okay. Okay, we want to ventilate a window that's 2 floors below us, and our 6-foot hook isn't going to reach. So what we can do is we can take our Halligan tool and connect it to our search line here. I pull some line out of the bag. Now some of the Halligan tools actually have a little ring on them that we can attach to. This one does not, so I actually have to tie it on. Okay, I tie that on, I take my tool, and I lower it down the 2 floors. All right, I found my mark, there's my window. Now the important part here is I need to hang on to my right hand. This is my mark. So I pull it back up with my left hand.
I guess you got to also make sure there's nobody underneath of you when you're doing this. I mean, that'd be pretty important in case falling glass or the Halligan tool fall or something.
I have seen this done where the Halligan tool comes off and it's not tied on properly. So you definitely need to make sure that it's attached properly and no one's below.
Okay.
Okay, I've got my mark. I hold on to it. I take my tool, make sure no one's below, and I throw my Halligan tool out, and I break my window. Now, if there was a series of windows along there, I could just walk along, pull my tool up, and break those windows out one at a time.
That's a pretty neat item. Did you ever have a chance to use that very much? I mean, was that a typical way that you had to do ventilation in New York?
Once in a while. Usually we were able to reach it with a hook or from the ground with a ladder.
Andy, you come up with so many interesting things. The last time you were here, we had just so many good comments about the piece that you did last time and likewise this time. And we look forward to seeing you out here again next year. Maybe we can manage to get you out here to teach the ladder guys a class. That would be beneficial, I'm sure, to them and the department.
I hope so, buddy.
Okay, we'll see you later on.
Welcome to this month's segment of Fire Medic. We're in the studio today with Chief Sergeant. Welcome to the studio, Chief
Thanks.
Sergeant. We called you to this segment of Frontline. We'd like to introduce some of the new equipment I understand is going to be coming to the engines soon. Can you tell us what exactly we're getting?
Sure. We've got a project task group together to look at some basic life support equipment, and that will consist of a couple of polycarbonate longboards, some sort of disposable head immobilization device, the accompanying straps that would go with that, KED, probably some SAM splints, and one of the blood pressure kits that has like the thigh cuff and the leg cuff and all the different size cuffs in it to add to our current complement.
Okay. Can I ask if this was generated by a specific call or what spearheaded this group?
I think it's more generated by a need for continuous improvement in the system, and I think everybody agrees with that. And fire, EMS, and the medical director have seen a need to improve the system by getting some additional equipment out there so that we can work patients as a team and provide that level of care that needs to be provided.
Has the task force gone into this in depth enough that they can give us exchange procedures and stuff like that at this point, or?
We really haven't discussed the exchange procedures yet. What we have talked about is having enough equipment, i.e. the long boards, to have one on the apparatus and one back at the station so that that exchange can be made. What we do know about the equipment at this time is we want to make it a systems component. In other words, we want to make everything compatible. We want to make as much disposable as we can, and we want to make everything as easy to clean as we can, both from a bloodborne pathogen standpoint, but just from a use and maintenance standpoint as well. So we really haven't worked through the exchange issue right yet, or even the purchasing issue.
But this will be something that EMS obviously will be involved in. It'll be up to their standards, so we won't have a problem when we package the patient having to repackage the patient with their equipment. They'll accept this?
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. The medical director and the fire chief and the deputy chief have spearheaded this, and Mr. Edwards is well aware of it. And I think the only difference that you'll see is most of the squads are using a wooden backboard, and we're going to go to a polycarb backboard, from, like I said, from a bloodborne pathogen standpoint, from a maintenance standpoint, and we'll be using disposable items as much as we can so we can use them and trash them and won't have to worry about them.
And is this going to be something that's going to be stocked on all of the apparatus, the ladders and the tankers, as well as the engines, or will it be mainly Frontline engine pieces?
We anticipate it on all engines, including reserve pieces and volunteer pieces, all ladder companies. I don't think we're going to stock the specialty companies like the tech truck, the hazmat truck, or the tankers, because typically what will occur is if you have an incident of that size, there'll be an apparatus there with the equipment on it.
Is this going to be an ongoing task force? We've seen the ALS airway equipment come on board, and I understand now that there's going to be some intervention through the operational medical director, Dr. Schleppen, to get us some additional ALS equipment. Do we foresee continuing on this in the future?
I think you're going to see continual systems improvement, and what form that takes, I don't know. There's a different project task group working on that ALS bag that Dr. Schleppen has set up, and it appears as though we will have some form of a modified ALS drug box or drug bag on the engines, so that the engines actually become a platform to deliver patient care off of, and that's both for career personnel who are certified at ALS and volunteers, whoever shows up. They have a platform to work off of with the equipment that they need, and that's complemented by the basic life support equipment that we're working on and the ALS airway kit that we have, and now hopefully within some time frame this ALS drug bag.
Okay, that sounds really exciting. Is there some information, if someone in the field has some information that they could share with you, is there a way, should they just give you a call? Is there someone on the task force specifically
Sure,
that
they can contact. There was a memo that went out to the field, and they can contact anybody on the task force. What we're really interested in right now is where can we put the stuff. That's sort of the big joke in the department. What are we going to throw off to put it on? But I don't think that's going to be a problem. So I think we need to get some input from the folks in the field where we're going to put it and what their thoughts are, and then contact any task force member, and at our next meeting we'll take that and incorporate it into our thought process.
Okay, we appreciate very much your coming
you.
out and being with us today and sharing that information, and we hope to see you again in the future with some updates.
Thanks.
In case you've been wondering what those safe place signs are on some of the fire station windows, we kind of wondered that ourselves. Ricky Woods was nice enough to come down here today. He's the spokesperson for the fire department and Safe Place to tell us a little bit about the Safe Place program and what our involvement is going to be as a fire department. So Ricky, thank you for coming down.
Thank you, buddy.
Do me a favor, Rick. Let's start out. Let's just explain to everybody what Safe Place is and how exactly you got involved with the Safe Place program.
Well, Safe Place is designed to be a shelter for people that are abused and adults, runaway children, that type deal. When I was at Green Run about 2 or 3 years ago, we had a couple situations involving adults that were homeless, children that were out in the street at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and even runaway kids we found back at the station at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. What do we do with them? Who do we contact? You know, we contact the police department. They're like, we don't know. You know, so I seen the Safe Place signs on a couple of dominoes. Just got inquisitive and asked, and then talked to Ben Fuller, who's the other chairman for the Tyward agency of it, and we just went from there.
Okay, so what kind of training is this going to involve for us to be involved with Safe Place? In other words, for to be designated a Safe Place site, what does a firefighter got to know?
It boils down, we've made a video, the fire department, the training staff down here. It's about 30 minutes long or so. You have to view that, some paperwork you got to review. What I'd like to do is have all the A-shift captains be in charge of each station, almost like watching the Frontline video where you watch it and you sign off into it. And once all 3 shifts have done that, then what we'll do is send out the packet, and then you'll be a Safe Place haven.
So this is really no big deal. It's no recertification or certification, anything. You just have to follow some general guidelines about what you're responsible and how you're supposed to act in the presence of these minors and troubled adults.
Right. Everything's spelled out on a piece of paper. You got steps 1 went through, I think, 15. And you just follow those and we'll down the number. And then this not can cost nothing to nobody. It's nothing you got to be recertified in. Very simple, very easy, and it's a public relations tool between the fire department and the citizens of Virginia Beach.
Rick, how's this going to affect the response times for the firefighters that are out there?
Oh, there's response times so far. We've had it in companies 11, 20, and 18, and none of the guys have experienced any type of response delay. You would treat this individual case as a rescue call, a fire call, whatever. Now, if you do have a call that comes in, according to Chief Dizell, if your manning's available, then go with it. If not, you just treat it like another call, one call at a time.
Okay, so if they have any questions about anything concerning Safe Place, they can call you and get answers directly from Company 20A, right?
Yeah. Anytime they want to, they can contact me there. That'd be the easiest way to do it, have one, captain per shift involved in it.
Okay, Rick, I think it's going to be a great program, and we appreciate you spearheading it for us. And if you got any questions, like Rick said, give them a call down there at Company 20.
Hey, thanks for joining us for another segment of Health and Fitness. Now, over the past months, we've been showing you the different body parts, working specifically on those body parts. Now, today, we're going to work with arms, which involves the tricep and the bicep. And I have with me today as my guest, I have James Branch. James is from Company 11, A shift, and you've been in about 8 years. Is that right, James?
That's right.
How you like the job?
Oh, I love it, and I wouldn't want to do any other thing than what I'm doing right now.
Hey, that's great. I love to hear that. That's really terrific. Now, I asked James to join us today because he's got a great attitude for working out. He's thin. We get a chance to see some good muscle work in him. And today we're going to work with arms, as I said, triceps and the biceps. Now, James, do you work arms when you come right in on a workout?
No, it's one of the last things that I like to do. I like to work my chest and shoulders first, and arms is one of the last things that I do.
There you go.
Because it's a smaller muscle.
Sure, exactly right. It is a small muscle. Large muscle groups first, small muscle groups last. And you need your arms to do all upper body. So today we wanted to show you specifically the arms, and we're going to work with triceps. James, let's show him a push down and see what that looks like.
All right.
Okay, now James likes to use his back against the support beam. That way he feels like he's not cheating. He can be real straight. Notice he's same speed in both directions. Working the tricep, the back of the arm. There you go. And you notice he doesn't come up very far because he wants to stay in the strain. Hey, that's terrific, James. Okay, let's show him another technique that we can do with push downs.
Okay.
Good technique that you can use on a tricep extension is to squeeze at the bottom. By squeezing down here for a few seconds, you'll get a little bit more burn out of it. You don't have to use as heavy of a weight, and you'll get a terrific result. That does burn, James.
Sure it does.
Great. James, what do you say we show them one of your favorites, lying tricep extensions?
You mean nose breakers?
Nose breakers. Let's show them that.
Okay. All right.
Now, James likes this exercise because he feels like it isolates his tricep very well. Notice it does come down to the nose, hence the name nose breakers. Now, with this exercise, James, if you would, squeeze at the top. A couple seconds for a squeeze and then back down. That's great. That's doing basically the same thing that you were doing on the tricep push down. All right, James, that's pretty good for triceps. Obviously, there's more exercises that we can use in that, push downs with the elbows real close, things like that. But let's show them a little bit about biceps. I know that you like dumbbell curls, is that right?
I certainly do. That's right.
What's nice about those is that you can really isolate. Each arm has to do its own work with the same amount of weight, so it's really hard to cheat. And let's give that a try and see how that looks.
Let's do it. I'm feeling pumped.
Okay, buddy. All right, James is going to go ahead and show us the dumbbell curl. Go ahead, James. Okay, now he's doing what's called an alternating dumbbell curl. Now you notice that he turns that weight after he gets past his waist. That's called supination. So we'll get a real strong pull from right down at the bottom of the bicep. A little more action out of it. See how it turns? Great. Nice speed. Same speed in both directions. Great. That looks great. James, you got real good definition.
Thank you. Your turn now.
Oh, I was afraid you were going to say that. All right, let me show them a different technique.
Okay.
All right, another technique that you can use is the hammer curl, which is straight up and straight down. Nice speed in both directions. Notice I get a little bit more effort out of the top of my forearm. Try to keep your back straight. You don't want to do a lot of rocking motion when you do this. One more thing that you can do is bring it to the top and squeeze. Get a little bit more peak out of it. Squeeze. Yeah, feel that, James. After a workout, I know you're probably like I am, you get hungry.
I sure do.
Yeah. Okay, well, what do you say we go to our nutrition segment and talk about something that both you and I like?
Milk?
Milk. Well, James, you know, we've known the benefits of milk for a long time. I mean, as kids, we were raised with milk. Our parents insisted that we drink it. You know, the obvious, it fights osteoporosis, and it's for good teeth, helps fight cavities. We know about all that, but I thought I'd talk to the folks some about the things about milk they just don't know. Milk has been found to be a great cancer antidote. Evidence that milk helps prevent cancer has been increasing for the last 10 years. Milk has high calcium and vitamin D, and they're the agents responsible for this success. Now, vitamin D, James, is what promotes the calcium absorption. They actually add it to the milk. I didn't know the reason for it. Calcium detoxifies bile acids in the intestinal tract, and it's these acids which promote colon cancer. So as a cancer antidote, milk is just superior. James, another great benefit of milk is that it's a heart and blood pressure medicine. One study shows that milk suppresses the liver's output of cholesterol. Other studies have shown that calcium deficiencies help trigger high blood pressure in some individuals, especially those extra sensitive to the blood pressure elevating effects of salt. Now, most everybody knows that milk is beneficial for ulcers. Now, what we mean by that is it helps to subside the pain of ulcers. Milk does. But what you probably don't know is that recent discoveries have shown certain properties in milk are identical to those comprising the new anti-ulcer drug called Cytotec. Now, these properties command stomach lining cells to throw up an impenetrable barrier against chemical assaults, such as acids and cigarette smoke. Both are prime causes of ulcers. How's it taste, James?
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
The spot.
And the last benefit I'd like to talk about, James, is milk for insomniacs? Never. A glass of warm milk to bring on sleep is dead wrong. Tests have shown that milk, at least non-fat milk, perks up the brain cells. Milk delivers tyrosine to the brain, which in turn trigger production of dopamine and norepinephrine, stimulating the brain to think more quickly and accurately. Whole milk, because of the fat content, tends to drag your brain cells' mental acuity down.
You mean drinking this will make me smart?
Right, James. Whole milk has a tremendous amount of fat in it, as we all know. Now, in the grocery stores, you can buy 2% milk, you can buy 1% milk, and in some cases, you can even buy 0.5% milk. What we'd like to recommend to you is hold the fat content of your milk down, maybe even skim milk if you can handle that. Milk's a terrific food. You should drink it as an adult. It's really good for you. The vitamin D is most essential in stimulating the body to absorb the calcium. So what do you think? Milk?
I love it. It's the one.
Great. Until next time, my name is Jim Milligan for Health and Fitness.
Welcome to another edition of Rags to Wrenches. I'm Captain Greg Wakeman, and with us today is Gary Amphlett. We're going to cover the safety segment of the chainsaw, the three-part series that we wanted to do, and Gary's with us today. Gary?
How's it going, Greg?
Good, good. What do you got for us today?
Well, we're going to be doing the safety segment today. There's some concern, some stuff that we've came across, some information needs to be passed along. Most of the safety stuff is going to be elementary, but some good points of interest, and basically that's where we're going to go today.
Okay, well, we got some video with us today. It's going to be a portion of a Frontline Extra that's going to be in the package. You want to explain a little bit of it for us?
Right, yeah, we'll roll the video and then I'll go over it. First part segment here is basically we're going to be dealing with the cutoff saw. And first thing you want to do is you want to be familiar with the owner's manual. in this section. You need to read it carefully. I'm sure that most of them still have it. I've seen a lot of them out in the fire stations on the benches and everything. This right here is to ensure that the blade was tight and everything, which I mentioned. We're doing a starting procedure. You're flipping a switch and choke. You've got it started in this one right here. One of the big key issues in these saws right here is you want to get this unit up to full RPM before you go to cut, and make sure that the blade guard is in the right position to be making this cut. On this one right here, we're doing a start-up method that shows the boot in the area right there, and you hold your hand firmly down there, you get it started, run it up, warm it up real good before you go to make your cut. And you don't want to be getting antsy because the thing keeps cutting off. This one right here is just a demonstration basically of a good grip. You want to make sure, you want to ensure you got a good grip. This was right here is the blade guard. You want that in the right position to protect you as an operator.
I see now we've got a segment.
Right, we're going into a segment right here. It refers to as starting. There's two different methods. It's a little difficult being on the roof, doing a roof operation to start it in that method. That's one. He's going to demonstrate right here what they call a thigh start here. He's going to pin that saw up in the thigh section, which they would very easily be able to do on the roof operation. Set your chain brake, make sure you get all that. And then he goes to pull it, and then we disengage the chain and begin the operation. On this particular video. I just wanted to show you that. Here is a startup segment to the kickback we're going to be looking at. And they're talking about this is, just making a cut, and we got to the kickback. This is the kickback zone that we're referring to right here. This portion of the saw is what causes the saw to kick back into the operator. And if the saw is held properly and you're aware of this zone, and it happens, and it kicks back, your hand, the way you hold it, will disengage the brake area. This right here is referring to the new anti-kickback chains and the bar. We have a lot of these in service in the city. The ladder trucks with the 3/8 pitch, which I mentioned in the other videos, does not have this anti-kickback. Your ones that you see on the engine companies, that your .325 has got that anti-kickback, and that's how you would identify that chain. They're not interchangeable between each unit. So you need to pay close attention to that if you've got a unit or got a brush truck, a ladder, and an engine, and all three got saws in it. And it's, you need to pay attention to that area right there. And that's what that green label means. There's a yellow label also that means that it's not a kickback. And the chains we're using, the 3/8, they're not anti-kickback.
Right.
So you want to pay attention. This next video that we're seeing right here is the actual chain in operation. And it's going to give you some illustration on how violent this chain can happen during a kickback situation. This particular chain right here is running smoothly. You see it, it's raking the stuff. We're slowing it down to show you. You can see the chain starting to lift up right there. It's trying to pull itself out of the track and everything. And there's a next segment in here. It's going to show you exactly what's happening during a kickback. And when I mentioned that the big boys, when you turn around, and we'll be rolling it here, this is an actual kickback test. And you see the chain up there wrinkling in the left right there. Everybody knows how tight that chain is when you first put it on. And as this chain is going, they've slowed it down. You see that, that's what's happening. See that chain trying to be ripped off that bar? Well, you couple that in 20 inches, you couple it with a big saw and everything right there, and there's an excessive amount of force. And if you ain't got a good grip when this takes place, chances are the thing's going to get kicked back up. And these type kickback situations can be fatal. I've been to accidents where chainsaws has cut into people and everything, and it ain't a stitch or two. It's normally quite a few stitches, or loss of limb. And we touched heavily on this kickback situation because one day it might happen. The engine company operation might have to cut their way into a neighborhood, or the brush crews or whatever do forestry operations and everything, which that will show in the video extra on how to fell a tree and how to cut up certain portions and use the little parts, the wedges and stuff like that will be available in that video also. And that's the key to keep people from getting injured.
I appreciate your help, Big Gary.
No problem.
For this edition of Rags to Wrenches, Captain Greg Wakeman.
How in the world? Man, look at all this stuff. I'd love to have this.
Hey, what are you doing?
Molly, what are you doing here this morning? Look, I'm just restocking the shelves here. Hold on a minute. Let me put this back. Listen, since I was here, how in the world do you deliver all these supplies?
Well, now that you've put everything back,
Oh,
stick with me and I'll show you.
okay. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, Molly, I see we're at programs on the office now. What do you do exactly in here?
Well, we pull up all the email orders, and after that, we go to the back and fill them.
So what's your schedule? Do you work 5 days a week or a couple days or what?
Just 4 days, Monday through Thursday. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we make sure that the orders are filled, so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we can just hop out of here and go deliver.
So you don't deliver in just one day then?
No. No, it's Tuesdays is the south end stations out in the county. Thursdays are all the north end stations.
Okay, so you got all that on paper, so what do we do now?
Let's go fill them.
Let's go. Okay, Molly, I see we're in a different room here other than a big warehouse. What exactly is in here?
Just your basic cleaning supplies, disinfectant cleaners, sponges, furniture polish, and everybody's favorite, the pink
Oh,
urinal.
the large pink mint. Do we have to turn one in to get a new one?
They're barcoded, watch it.
Oh. So these are your household supplies then, other than your stuff in the warehouse like tools and stuff. You keep all
Right,
the
right.
paper towels and stuff like that in here?
Right, toilet paper, all the good stuff.
So what are you doing now?
All right, we just got an order in from Company 1. Now, this is 8:15 Thursday morning. Okay, I get my order in here at 4:13. I'm out of here at 4 o'clock. They know that. But I'm nice, so I'm going to fill it anyway.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, all we need to do is just need a couple of cans. Just fill everything that they need. Okay. 4 bars of soap. Need some sponges.
This looks like hard work.
It's not hard work, it's busy work.
Busy work?
And now we have to go inside the warehouse to get a couple things.
So how long does it take you to fill one order?
Depends on how big it is, it depends on which station.
Really?
Yeah.
So the bigger the stations, the more supplies?
Right. Company 16, Company 11, Company 10, your larger stations, usually they need a lot more supplies and take a little bit more time.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put this on the truck and let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Hey, I see we're ready to go. Monty, let me drive. Come on, I can drive fire
Just
trucks.
watch the transmission.
Okay, where's the battery starter? Red lights, sirens. Let's see here. Glow plugs. Let's go, Molly.
There you go.
Are you ready?
Take off.
Well, Molly, that was a full day of work. You really got me sweating. I can't wait to get back to shift work.
Randy, you did a good job.
Well, thanks. Do you have anything that you want to say to the firefighters out in the field to help you do your job better?
Well, no, they help me out a lot. They always help me unload, and they are always giving me little tips about equipment and everything. So they're a good bunch of guys to work with.
Okay, I thank you for your time, and that was fun.
All right, thanks a lot.
Firefighter Bose, I understand
Hi, Chief.
that you were caught doing a little pilfering here this morning
No, that was from our new segment on How in the World.
for your new segment.
Yes,
huh?
sir.
You really expect me to believe that?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think we're going to need to look into this a little bit more. You
But
have to
Chief,
talk
all I
to
was
me.
doing was just the new segment. You know, I was putting the stuff in my pockets like this, just for the new segment, you know.
Okay, well, hand Molly the microphone and turn around, and I think we need to look into this a little bit more.
Well, I tried. See you next month. This is Randy Bose for How in the World. Chief, you don't have to do this.
Oh, we don't? Okay.
No, but really,
All right,
what I
let's
was
go.
doing, I was just doing a new segment.
This was the scene on Thursday, the 22nd of September, at a hazmat call behind the old HQ at North Lynn Haven and Virginia Beach Boulevard. Hi, I'm Battalion Chief Skip Brem, and I'd like to welcome you to this edition of VBFD Frontline News Updates. I had a chance to respond to the call at HQ with the video crew and talk to some of the participants. So let's go to that video at this time.
We're now going to talk to Chief Sargent, who's here operating as his capacity of PIO. So what's going on here, Chase?
Well, what we know right now is we've got the 40-foot box trailer in the rear of the structure, and we've got about over 500 pounds of HTH in it, and we were looking for a product known as isocyanic acid, which the chemical manufacturer told us was in there, but it turns out that it's only in a very small container of a pool closing kit, so it's no big deal. So right now the team's in there trying to determine exactly what's spilled and where the chlorine smell and stuff is coming from. So that's where we are right now. It doesn't look like it's going to amount to a very big spill, but based on the information we initially got from Olin Chemical Company, who HQ called, it appeared bigger than it was.
We're here at the command post with R.B. Alley, the battalion chief from Battalion 1, and we're going to see how this incident is running as far as the accountability and the other systems. R.B., we know that we have other jurisdictions here with DES and Chesapeake and everything. How's the accountability system working with them?
Well, it's going real good, Skip. We had to bring in Chesapeake paramedics because we did make entry into the container. Had about a 40-foot trailer in the back that was detached and left unattended with pool chemicals, basically. What we're finding out now is that it's probably about 1 5-gallon container busted open is what it was. The accountability went real well. EMS was here. We worked well with them getting it set up. Chesapeake paramedics are here to assist with the hazmat, and we also brought in some off-duty hazmat people to assist us with entry. Everything else went like clockwork. Accountability worked real well.
Well, it looks like things worked out well today. There only seems to be 1 5-gallon container of HTH that was damaged. The entry team is getting ready to leave the trailer at this time, so let's go back to the studio.
Also on the 22nd of September, a large assortment of Nautilus fitness equipment was delivered to logistics. This equipment was donated to the department by the Navy. The gym at the Naval Air Station Norfolk was being remodeled and upgraded, so their old equipment became available for our use. The PT committee and the department are actively engaged in finding a suitable building to be turned into a fire department gym. Their target is to have this gym up and running within the next 6 to 12 months. On the 13th of September, A shift on engines 9, 10, 23, and 7, along with Ladder 9 and Battalion 2, responded to an RV fire in the driveway at 181 Herndon Drive in Huntington. By the time Engine 9 arrived on the scene, the 35-foot Winnebago Chieftain was fully involved, and the fire had extended through an open window into a bedroom above the garage and through the soffit into the attic. The fact that the structure was covered with lapboard rather than vinyl helped reduce the fuel load and limit the total fire extension. The Winnebago was completely destroyed, and total fire damage was $60,000. The 10th annual Tidewater Heavy and Tactical Rescue School was held at the training center from the 25th of September to the 1st of October. 120 students from all over the country attended this nationally renowned training course. Training in rope rescue was conducted at the rope tower on the amphibious base at Little Creek, while training in confined space and trench rescue were accomplished on the training center grounds. Along with the 120 students, approximately 50 technicians from as far away as Washington State, Massachusetts, and Florida came to the beach to assist with course delivery. On Monday and Tuesday, after the completion of the HTR school, the training staff took advantage of the pre-existing trenches and held a class in trench rescue. This class was primarily for members of the department's truck companies, to help them meet their training matrix requirement for this certification. Well, that does it for this edition of VBFD Frontline News Updates. As always, if you have something for the updates, give me a call here at the training center. Until next month, this is Battalion Chief Skip Brem.
Thank you, Chief Brem. We're here with Linda in the library. Linda, how's things going in the library?
Pretty good, buddy.
Hey, you got anything you want to tell the people out there about? We got a lot of stuff down here. What can we do about all this training material down here?
Well, they need to know that it's here, and come on down and check it out.
So we can keep Linda off the telephone long enough to help you down here. The phone rings almost constantly down here, but she does a mighty fine job doing everything down here. Well, listen, we hope you enjoyed the program this month. If you've got anything you want us to get on Frontline, as always, give us a call. If you want to check out any AV stuff or anything, give Linda a call right here. She'll be sure to fix you up. Till next month, stay safe.